Hello everyone, we are back for a breakdown of episode 3 of Roller Jam. This episode's a little crazy because we go from 8 teams to 5, which means 3 teams have to leave instead of the traditional 1 team each episode. So this is a really big episode. It's also big because we have teams going off head to head. So it is a battle episode, and a lot of these teams are not used to battling. So it's a little tricky. In the different groups, we have 2 teams skating to the same song. Things are gonna get a little bit heated. And like they all say in the episode, a lot of them are friends. The skating community is not a huge community, especially the professional skating scene. Not a huge community. We all know each other, and we've all known each other for years. So it's pretty wild to see your friends battling against your friends, but this is the first time that we see all of the existing teams compete in the same episode. So it's a really exciting episode. If you haven't seen episode 1 and 2, I would say 3 is actually okay to start with, but you will be missing 2 of the teams that have already been sent home. So I will have some spoilers in this breakdown. Before we get started, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Nicole Fiore. I am a 4-time world champion artistic roller skater. I've been skating my whole life and teaching for over 10 years, and I teach online as well as in person. Please check out my memberships at thatnicolefiore.com as well as my YouTube channel, and you can learn a lot of the moves that these skaters are doing. Roller skating is so much fun. Ready for all levels, all ages, no matter where you are on your skating journey. I'm here to help. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. Let's get started. So our first battle is between the Lone Stars of Texas and Disco Oasis. Now this is a really fun mashup because both of these teams are artistic skaters. They know each other. For example, Daniela and Natalie from Disco Oasis have competed against Madison from Lone Stars of Texas, in the same events growing up all the way through world class. So we've all known each other for a very long time. Now, before I get into their actual routine, Terrell, you should wear a chain over a turtleneck every day of the week. That look is fantastic. Also, Jordan Sparks' makeup and hair is on point. And we also have Maureen McCormick from the Brady Bunch. When my mom saw that, she was like, wait, what? Such a good guest judge for this episode because we are going through the 70s. Our other judge is Johnny Weir, who I love and adore, have loved and adored him for years, love watching him skate. And this is really great because we have our first axel of the season in this episode, and Johnny was able to pinpoint that. Okay. Let's get into the breakdown. Okay, so when the Lone Stars of Texas start, it is already off to a really great start. I think that this performance for them was way better than their last performance. They do this lift, which is a pretty simple lift, but the way they have to exit it, they have to make sure, the girls have to make sure they are on a strong outer back edge. These are the tiny details that if you nail them, it makes the routine so much better. Now, I will say, later on, past these 2 teams, it seemed like everyone was slipping, but not these first 2 teams. These teams skated great. That lift we just saw looks like it's in reverse. I love that lift so much. Very impressive. So good job, guys. What makes these routines kind of difficult is that they're only about a minute long, and to do these lifts that they do and these sequences they do, that already takes a long time. My favorite part of this routine is right there. The boys do a 360 jump, and they do traveling turns around the corner. To do that on an edge around a corner in a group of 4 people and not hit each other is extremely difficult. You have to make sure you are on your exact edge to make your way around the corner, but not too much of an edge that you're going to hit the person next to you, not too little of an edge that you're going to fall off the floor. So spectacular. Such a tiny little detail, but that was, I think, the most impressive part of this routine to me. They really did a good job of stepping out of their comfort zone on this. Now, if they do not get the highest score, they have to skate in the Olympus skate, which is a head-to-head battle for the one spot, the one team they're going to keep from that. And I was scared this entire episode because I was like, I don't know how they're actually going to judge this. So they judge on technique and creativity. So I will tell the scores that each team got, and I don't agree with about half of them. I think the other team should have won the battle. but we'll get into that in a moment. Disco Oasis comes out. Now, that is really cool. The laying back, using the body weight of the person behind you to hold you up. Very cool start to the routine. That is kind of a showstopper moment, especially like pointing to the judges, making sure they're really acknowledging you and seeing what you're doing. We have so many things in this routine. Like, I need to rewind. There's the axle. Okay, so after this piece where they lay back and they're balancing on each other and rolling, very cool. Now there is so much going on because they disperse and they're all doing their own thing. Okay, there's a round off. Then he goes into these flares. JoJo's heel spin right here is like insane. It's so good. There's the axle. Thank goodness he landed that. There's some coffins, then an airplane lift. There's just so much happening. Enabauer, so many of these things you can learn in the membership. These are things that we do all the time for artistic skating and for show routines. So what I mean by show routines, a lot of clubs in Los Angeles will have skaters come a few nights a week. I used to work Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at 3 different clubs in Los Angeles. And that is what this group does nowadays. That is what they mean by show skating, is they work at a lot of clubs and a lot of things where there is a group of people staring at you who has never seen anything like this. It's just a random person. They're having drinks with their friends. And then all of a sudden these roller skaters roll out onto the stage and you're like, what? They're used to being in front of a crowd who has no idea what they're doing, and they have to convince them that what they're doing is really awesome and really cool. Not a difficult thing to convince someone of, but it's really interesting skating for a group like that versus in artistic skating, you're skating in front of a group of people who know what you're doing and judges who are there to literally judge what you are doing. They know what you're doing. So it's interesting how much more performance goes into performing for a group of people who have no idea what they're looking at, because you kind of have to educate them and entertain them all in one. Whereas in artistic skating, you're just trying to hit your moves as best as you can to get the highest score with the technique. And then, of course, performance does come into play, but you have to perform a lot bigger for performance stuff and for the audience that has no idea what you're doing. So that is where these two have the biggest difference, is in the performance. Disco Oasis is used to performing at such a higher level that it really does show. I love both teams dearly, so one of them is gonna have to skate in the Olympic skate, and that makes me very nervous. I don't like it. Okay, so I thought the Disco Oasis should have won this round, and they, spoiler alert, so pause this if you don't want a spoiler, they did. They got a score of 84. Lone Stars of Texas got a score of 80. So they are gonna have to go skate in the Olympic skate. Before we go, look how cute Natalie is. I texted her after and I was like, you were so cute in this episode. That's my friend. Okay, now in this next round, we have Hot Wheels and House of Skate. I love skating to the 70s. I think every skater loves skating to the 70s. Maybe not loves it, but we have to do it a lot. I would say that is the music that we skate to the most. And the beat is so good for skating. So it's actually a very easy genre to skate to, but it's kind of difficult because everyone knows and loves these songs, so that they kind of have an expectation of what is going to happen. All right, starting it with the death split, jumping off the stage and doing a split. Absolutely insane, and we love it. We're all here for it. This routine to me started out strong, but there's a lot of things that are just a little too slow, not exciting. This lift I thought was a great idea, but they should have been rolling. And now maybe that's a little scary for people who aren't used to that. Let's talk about this opposite worm and then jumping up from that into a split. I gotta rewind this because this is insane. First of all, it's never crossed my mind to do this, but and up into a split. What? That's absolutely insane. All of this I just thought wasn't as dramatic as it could have been. I love that they did the scratching and then the next team came on. It was very fast paced. It was very good the way that they did this. Okay, so Hot Wheels I thought brought it a lot harder than they did in their first episode. I think that House of Skate, this one wasn't as good as their first episode. So this is where I thought the battle got a little iffy. I actually think Hot Wheels won this one, in my opinion. This lift that they did, it's a very cool lift, but the person upside down should flip out of it when you end it. And I think that they maybe wanted to do that and it didn't quite happen, so they just put her down. That's unfortunate, but let's see. Little things happened in this episode. I don't know for sure if the floor was slippery, but it really does look like these skaters were having a hard time in this episode. So I'm really curious to find out if it was slippery. Again, the first two teams didn't seem to have a problem. It was after them that look iffy. The girls are about to do, two of them are about to do a coffin. That's when you tuck your leg back. Weird name for it, but it's this move right here. They slip before they can even get into it, so they don't go down all the way. I don't know if they typically go down all the way, but it looked like she slipped as she went into it, so she kind of stopped herself to make sure she doesn't fall. Smart. This part was my favorite part. I thought that was great. But other than that, it just didn't hit hard enough for disco. Like I said, the floor just looked slippery, and when the floor is slippery, you have to hold back a little bit, and that's what it looked like to me. Okay, spoiler alert coming in. So one team gets an 85, one team gets an 81. I think the House of Skate should have to skate in the Olympic skate for this one, which I hate saying because I really, really adore them. But it's actually Hot Wheels that has to skate in the Olympic skate. So I'll tell you at the end what happened. So big time spoiler alerts. I know some countries can't watch this show, so I'm happy to be doing these breakdowns to let you know what's happening. But if you don't want any spoiler alerts, at the end I will tell you which teams go home. Okay, now we have Honor Roll against Bad Boys. This, again, I thought was a very smart matchup because they both have similar styles. That's a really hard thing to say about these groups, that anyone has a similar style, because they are honestly so very different. But I mean, in terms of the way that they perform and the way that they work together, I think that they are a similar matchup. As we know, if you've been following along with the breakdowns, Honor Roll was my favorite from the opening episodes. They are still my favorite team. I have them, Disco Oasis, and House of Skate are my top three. Not in this episode though. In this episode, I do love Honor Roll. I think that they did a great job. More on that in a moment. Disco Oasis, I think, won this episode. And I know I still have a bunch of teams to break down, but Disco Oasis won this one in my book. Love you guys. They just embodied the disco spirit, I think, the best. I know a lot of people hate disco music. I love disco. Literally, I am on location today and our friends were like, what do you want to listen to? I said, disco. And Taylor goes, how dare you? No. Let me rewind because I'm going to talk forever about disco. Okay, so they are skating to Car Wash, and this was the most genius move, to have Dylan sitting pretending like he's in a car to come out. So smart. Okay, so because it's like a battle, they have the other team on the sideline. And I thought that this was so cute because they throw their washcloths at the other team, which is totally a battle thing. So I thought that they really embodied that really well. They're just so cool. They really can't help themselves. They're just that cool. This whole sequence of them staggered perfectly in windows, I thought was really smart. Double backflip, boom, boom. I mentioned this in the previous breakdown, but what I want everyone to look for is watching a team perform and getting lost in it. So I mentioned in the last breakdown that that's what Honor Roll does for me. When I'm watching them, I'm not thinking about the technical things. Now, I know obviously not everyone watching is thinking about the technical things, but there are some teams where you notice like a mess up and you're like, oh, and it takes you out of it. When a team is super good, they recover from it so quickly that you don't get taken out. You might be like, oh, what was that? And then you're back in to watching the scene. That's what every team should aim to do. Look for that in these routines. If you can watch it and totally be like engulfed in what they're doing and like what they are showing you is everything, the rest of the world disappears. That's what you want in a performance. Okay, now bad boys. This is a really cute concept, especially because it's boys and then one girl. I thought this was really cute intro, especially having her up on the stage like the star. She's setting up really early for this lift. She's already setting up and then they lift her. The lift is beautiful. That was just one thing that annoyed me. There was too much prep, too much setup for it. It was like she was anticipating. There's still just a lot of moments in this. Like she almost falls right there. I think it was slippery. That was my favorite moment of this. The pull through heel click. I thought that was so smart and it was such a cool angle to watch it. So many good little moments. Again, these routines are so fast. So one of the most difficult things when you're doing a fast routine, and I mean fast as in like it is a minute long, which skating for a minute is not a lot of time. We're all so used to like quick TikTok videos that are 15 seconds. Yes, but that is like one tiny little scene. When you think of a routine, a skating routine is usually at least 2.5 minutes. I choreograph for pageants as well. Those are about 90 seconds, a little bit longer, but still very quick. So when you have a quick routine like that, you have to have like your 5 key moves that you're going to hit. And in between that, you can't just go move to move to move to move. You have to fill the spaces. It felt like a lot of these teams were rushing to get to the next move and not filling the space. It's almost better to take your time in a fast routine rather than rush into the next thing. There's a really difficult balance and it's really hard to verbally explain. It's easier for me to choreograph a routine and show you what I mean. The routines made me feel a little bit anxious. I don't want to feel rushed. I don't like that. Okay, so this is another one that I disagree with. One team got 86, the other team got 87. I thought that Honor Roll did a better job in this one, but they got the 86. Bad Boys got the 87. So even though Honor Roll was our top scoring team in our intro episodes, they have to skate in the Elimma skate. Now, I wasn't sure if the Elimma skate was going to be a separate routine that the whole group did, or if it was going to be like the Elimma skate in the previous episodes where they choose one skater to go battle. It was just like the previous episodes where they choose one skater to go battle. So very interesting, but I was genuinely scared. I was genuinely nervous. Okay, now our next teams are the strangest pairing. Strangest matchup. It's Skate Gravity and Skate Shot. These two teams could not be more different. So Skate Gravity is showy Vegas show stunt skating, and Skate Shot is rink skaters. Groovy, good footwork, rink skating. Two extremely different worlds. So very difficult to judge this one. And I, again, disagree with how the judges judged it. I thought performance-wise, Skate Shot did a better job than Skate Gravity. Now, it is so difficult to beat their tricks, the tricks that Skate Gravity has. I recognize that. But general skating, I thought that Skate Shot did a better job. Okay, Skate Gravity starts out. Now, I love starting their routine with a lift. I think that's genius. But this lift, she doesn't get into it. She has to reset. They didn't talk about this, but that is really, really difficult to do. So Kim is getting upside down, but you're supposed to lift one leg, lift the other leg. Boom, boom, flip. She goes to lift the second leg, then puts it back down because it wasn't right, and then pulls it back up. Now, when you're spinning, like simple, okay, easy, just lift your leg back up. No, when you're spinning, it's really hard to do. So it was great that she reset and was able to do that. But I was a little afraid at first. Okay, now here's another lift. I thought that this wrist guard was a wrist guard, and then I realized, oh, it was for the lift. So when you're doing those lifts, ones that are holding on by a wrist and a skate, such as this, that wrist, it's just the guy's hand holding on to your wrist. That is not the safest thing because, you know, oils and stuff like that. So a fun fact is when you're doing these lifts like this regularly, on days that you're going to do the lift, you this is just like some people's personal rules, it's not for everyone, but a lot of stunt people will not put body lotion on. So it doesn't matter how dry your hands are, how ashy your skin is. The safest thing to do is to not touch any lotion. So I remember going into a lot of shows when I was doing more stunt stuff like this, going into a lot of shows and being like, oh my gosh, my arm, like my elbows, I need lotion on my elbows. And if I took out my lotion anywhere near my partner, he would freak out. He's like, put that away. Do not do that. I do not want to lose grip of you tonight on a roof in front of hundreds, thousands of people. I don't want to have you slip out of my arms and have you fly off the roof. Like, it's not happening tonight. So I'm glad that they have that. It's obviously not like the cutest thing to have a wrap on your wrist. So a lot of times we will use like resin to make sure you don't slip. But a wrap is probably the smartest thing to do. I think they should have made it like orange or something to match their outfit, not black. But yeah, at first I thought she hurt her wrist. I thought it was a wrist guard and I was like, ooh, and then they did that and I was like, oh, great job. I thought it was a great routine. Again, something just lacking from it. And it's like attitude. Okay, the way Skate Shot starts, that won it for me. That was disco. That was the picture that I wanted. The outside people are doing a snake walk while the guy in the middle is on his toes curving. I thought that was brilliant. I loved that. They do a lot of fun stuff here and they did a lot better with their choreography. They did better at matching, in creating these different pictures where one person is the star. I thought that was super smart. Okay, I didn't notice this until the second time that I watched it. I was pausing and rewinding a lot, but these guys are spinning in opposite directions. So in roller skating, spinning direction, rotating direction is usually to your left. One skater spinning to his left, one skater spinning to his right. So that looked really cool. Okay, then they jump off of the stage. I thought that was super cool. Now, one of the guys is still rolling into his ending position here at the very end. Rolling into it. Not great, but honestly, he didn't freak out, and that is the key. The key is if you mess up, don't freak out. If you're not in your spot, don't freak out. Just go there and play it off, because odds are if you don't do anything too crazy to get there, people won't notice. Okay, so these teams, one team got an 85, one team got an 81. Skate Shot got the 81, so they have to skate in our limit skate. See what I mean about Terrell? That gold chain around that turtleneck, that is the move. So good. The makeup this episode was everything. Okay, so we have our 4 groups that are gonna have to battle it out, and only one team stays. I was so scared, like legit so scared. And these teams are great. They're all fantastic. It's hard when you have 20 seconds to battle. I was just talking about how a minute is not enough time. 20 seconds? They have to battle it out in 20 seconds and they have to choose one person to battle. So these choices were very smart. I had said in Honor Roll's introduction episode that Dylan, they couldn't even showcase him because it's such a group setting. Dylan is a fantastic skater and they chose him for this limit skate, which I thought was very, very smart. I'm nervous even just talking about it. Okay, so Raphael starts, does an axle, messes up. The way my heart stopped watching that. Raphael is a fantastic skater. He is a dance skater. He's a figure skater. He can do a lot. His posture is great. He's showing amazing skill and amazing talent. That split, awesome. That going against this, completely different. That spin was gorgeous though. He is fantastic. Okay. She is everything. She is always in the battle circle. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, she's there. So this was a good choice. But again, the floor seems slippery. It seems like she's slipping and can't actually do the things that she wants to do. But all completely different skaters. Okay, now we have Dylan. Dylan's the only one that even if he was slipping, he can control it. So cool. Just so cool. How do you even compare these skaters? The stress. Okay, so the music they use to build the anticipation does its job really well, but honor roll stays. Oh, I was relieved. When you have 8 teams and you're only keeping 5, that's gonna get really difficult really fast. So anyway, Lone Stars of Texas, Skate Shot, and Hot Wheels leave the competition. Now we have 5 teams. We have Disco Oasis, we have Bad Boys, we have Honor Roll, Skate Gravity, and House of Skate. These are going to be 5 really good teams to watch. Now, I don't know if my heart can take more than 1 elimination an episode anymore. That was a lot. Eliminate 3, but I totally get it. Like you have to get down to the nitty-gritty. So there's 6 episodes in this season, so 3 more episodes. So that was a tough one, but in the little preview for next episode, someone in Skate Gravity, I believe, gets hurt, which is very scary because they have all the crazy stunt lifts. So for one guy who does the crazy stunts to get hurt, that's not a good time. So I hope he's okay. We will find out next week. So please like, subscribe, do all of that fun stuff to keep up with all the breakdowns, because I will be back next week with another breakdown. And if you would like to learn how to skate and learn a bunch of these cool moves that these skaters are doing, I am here for you. Please check out my memberships at thatnicolefiore.com, as well as YouTube, as well as the Foundations course and private lessons and workshops. So many fun opportunities to skate, and I am here for all of it. So I hope you have a good week, and I will see you next week. Bye. I just remembered I skated yesterday. I was filming some stuff, and it was very slippery. Speaking of slippery floor, this was like actually on a bridge, and it was wet. Thank goodness there was a handrail, because my skate literally just slipped out from under me, and I grabbed the handrail and fell perfectly on my butt cheek. Thank goodness, because that one could have been bad. But my left butt cheek is a little sore, and I was just getting up, and I was like, why? Oh, that's why. It happens.